Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Somebody save me. Hello. Welcome to Great Scott. Nice to see you. That's my best impression of Remy Zero. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Scotty V, and hello. How are you? What's happening? So, funny things always up on the internet. Tom Welling, who has grown up quite a bit since his first season in Smallville, where he was supposed to be playing a freshman, tied up to a cross with kryptonite hanging around his neck and a big S painted on his naked chest for all the WB fangirls. As we all know, they cast those shows to get their knickers in a twist, and they cast them with beautiful people. And Tom, of course, now having been divorced from Smallville for about 2 years or so, is still going to red carpet events, is still apparently involved with some form of entertainment. I don't believe we've seen him in anything recently, and who knows if we'll see him again. As an actor myself, albeit not a particularly successful one, I hope he succeeds. I hope that he's in some other things. I mean, the thought during the 10 years of him playing Clark Kent on Smallville was, this is probably going to be it. He's a pretty boy. He was a model. He was cast here because he kind of looks like he could play the part of a young Clark Kent, and that's what this show is about. And we want pretty people on the WB, so we're going to bring him in and teach him to be an actor. There was a lot of criticism in the beginning that he couldn't act. I always thought he was pretty convincing as a young boy trying to cope with the idea that he was going to be the savior of the universe and that he had these powers and all that stuff. And I thought he got better as he grew, but I thought that it was all believable. It was, at first, a young, tenuous kid who didn't know what was going on, and he grew a little more confident as the series went on. Now, I have my problem with Smallville, as I do with most things, as everybody knows, but what I wanted to talk about today was, recently, on one red carpet or another, where Tom was dressed to the hilt and looking pretty good, he was asked what he thought, because it's on everyone's minds, because it's all over the internet, because all everyone can do is complain about it. Some people are saying it'll be cool, it'll be alright, it'll be fine, it'll be one thing, it's a guy, it's an actor, who cares, what difference does it make? Some people are saying Batman shouldn't be in the movie at all, but most people are talking about how Affleck's going to ruin another superhero franchise, much like he did with Daredevil, or much like George Clooney did with Batman. I would argue, and have argued, that Daredevil was not ruined by Affleck. Daredevil also wasn't that bad. It was a good second-tier, third-tier, lesser-known superhero movie that came off pretty well. Colin Farrell was a little over the top, but I believe he was directed to be that way. I believe the story was written that way. I believe that the movie, in a lot of ways, was over the top, and but it was still okay. It was fun. It was good. It wasn't a Spider-Man. It wasn't a Man of Steel, but it was enjoyable enough. I bought it at one time or another, and he didn't ruin the franchise. The movie made decent money, and there was talk of a sequel for a long time. It just never happened. And they made the Elektra spinoff, which nobody was clamoring for. And George Clooney, I would argue, did not ruin the Batman franchise. That franchise was on its way down after Batman Returns. When Schumacher took over, it got crazy, it got silly, the writing was silly, it was campy, it was goofy. On the Adam West series in the 60s, we knew what they were going for. It was tongue-in-cheek humor. It was supposed to be that way. But those Batman films with Michael Keaton were meant to be serious, gothic, dark, Tim Burton-y, but still a serious take, a different take than we had seen on screen with The Dark Knight. So when Schumacher came involved, and whether it was Val Kilmer or George Clooney, it was so goofy, it wasn't George Clooney or Val Kilmer's fault that it, got out of control. So these people are just looking for something to say, I think, and are very negative and are very against the idea of anybody playing Batman, anybody than maybe Bale or whoever it is that they liked or would like. And when you're casting an iconic role, I think you're always going to have these complainers, just like you had with Tom Welling. Anyway, Tom Welling stay classy, Tommy, was classy. He said, you know, I think it's a great idea. He's a great director. He's a great actor. I think he'll do great in the role. And I really, really, really wish him well. Which is what he should say. You know, I don't think that he should come out and say, I don't give a damn about anybody else, any other movie, anything else that's been done. And he could say that, you know, for every... I wish my fellow actor well. I hope he does great in the role. I'm sure they're going to endeavor to make the greatest movie that they can make, which was what Welling said. There's an Eminem who says, oh yeah, I have an album coming out. I don't give a damn about it. I didn't have any fun making it, so stop asking me questions. Now, I understand that's part of Eminem's persona. I understand that Justin Bieber spits on people and pees in buckets, mop buckets, in places that he shouldn't be peeing, and venues that he shouldn't be, and he's acting out. And I understand that we have our Lindsay Lohans who go nuts on cocaine and get drunk and ruin themselves. But then we also have actors who are on a red carpet or at an event and get asked a question that doesn't really relate to anything they are doing or their lives at this point, since he hasn't played Clark Kent in a while and has no connection to Man of Steel. But it's of interest to people who are fans, and the people who asked him this question know that it's of interest to people who are fans of Tom Welling and were fans of Smallville. And they also know it's going to stir up some controversy because there are still a huge contingent of people that won't accept Man of Steel or any other movies because they thought Tom Welling should have been cast as Superman, and he's their Superman. Just like there are people that will never like another version of Superman because Christopher Reeve was Superman, and there's no way to top it, and there's no way to top John Williams. So if you have any movie with any other music, they're not going to like it. But they asked Tom Welling, and he was classy about his answer, just like Josh Brolin, who was reportedly up for a possibility of playing the Dark Knight, or at least was rumored to on a lot of sites. He was asked and thought it was silly that so many people were going crazy, and that he hoped that Affleck could throw it in their face later on when the movie's a huge success and he's great and everybody loves it and everybody's toting it. And you know people will go, I was with him all the time, he was my choice. And if you were able to rewind their life and see a recording of what they said, they were part of the people who were like, Affleck? What? This is going to be terrible. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Apparently, on the Superman homepage, there were some attacks, as there often are in these fan posts on Facebook, on social networking sites, on other sites, Newsarama, going crazy about the New 52 all the time, with people who really love it attacking the people who hate it, and people who hate it or love what it was before attacking the people who love it, or attacking DC, or talking about boycotts. It always happens. I did not get around to the thread on Superman homepage soon enough to see what the remarks were, as the moderators, I myself am one, had moved the comments that were apparently offending off. But I know they were bad because normally Steve or myself or somebody else will come on and say, let's not get out of hand here. This is a fan site. This is a site about Superman. We're here to talk about the issues. You know, you can argue or you can disagree with each other, but let's not get offending. But apparently there was cursing, there was offense, you know, and people just get crazy about these internet announcements. This was on the story about Welling saying that he thought Affleck would be great and blah, blah, blah. And I can only imagine that it was the people who either hate Welling or hate Affleck, or hate that Affleck was cast, or hate that Welling was asked, or hate that he's involved in any way, or maybe they were mad that Brolin hopes that that Affleck's able to kick these comments in the face when the movie comes out and it's great. But I say this on a number of things. Calm the hell down, people. You know, it's a movie. I wanted Man of Steel to be great. I thought it was. I hope the sequel, or whatever this is great, or the sequel we eventually get to is great. I hope we get to Justice League. I hope we see a lot of stuff, and I hope it's all great, and I hope all the castings work out. I feel like Affleck will, and I think he's more than proven himself over the years, as I said last week or the week before. But, you know, Welling was classy. Welling made it, you know, he probably doesn't really care all that much, but he could be a fan of movies, a fan of actors, a fan of the idea, and he certainly has an opinion and is welcome to have an opinion on whether he thinks Affleck will be good or not. And that's just my 2 cents. But thanks everybody for watching, and remember, Somebody save me. Come on.